Time we switch part. The boys are
Yes,
back. How are you,
sir.
Chris?
Oh, quarters. Hey, I'm happy. I'm happy, man. Yeah, can't complain there. How you doing?
I'm good myself. The Dan Carters of podcasting here to give you those
Uh-huh.
takes, discuss the game. Just some church announcements. You can find us here, Apple Podcasts, Spotify, our Twitter accounts doing numbers these days, so you can find us there. But I
Yeah.
think let's dig into news of the week. There's there's no starting lineup for us to discuss. It would normally be protocol of,
Mm.
of, of a Tuesday and the squad announcement's been pushed to Thursday.
Yeah, look, it's because I think it's because obviously the injuries, the injury situation. And then I think there were some factions that were not happy with the fact that the whole it's a bet, some are saying, hey, hey,
Yeah.
hey, 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 hey. We don't care. Because now it's ruining our Tuesdays because we don't have a lineup. But okay, we'll wait until Thursday.
Yeah, I actually think to get into that side of it, I think that they're sick of the dramatics. I know other
Yeah,
nations, there's almost like you're winning, so just shut up and win. I mean, obviously the Elizabeth thing was they didn't know whether he was going to be fit, then he was, then so it looks dramatic, and we've got Chasing the Sun 1 and 2. We've got this whole
yeah.
narrative going on, and the rugby world is not one that cares for narratives or dramatics or
Mm,
storylines. So I think it's one of those things that's just getting on other people's nerves.
yeah. And the fact that, we're the Republic of super athletes, so I think it's also part of it, that's there.
Yeah.
But look, we stay winning.
So let's talk this match now. No Kolisi, no Arendse. It's in Cape Town. I like, there's a lot of people that also have their own thoughts about the game being in Cape Town. Personally, the whole Cape Crusader thing and whatever, for me, I feel like it just adds more to the game. It makes it more
Yeah.
exciting. It makes it more tense. I'm not one of those people that's like, no, they have home ground advantage. South Africa will always have home ground advantage in South Africa. I just feel like it
Mm,
brings an extra edge. I personally feel they should have all New Zealand games should be in Ellis Park or in Cape Town. That's
yeah.
that's how I feel. And for me, it's also reward the fans. Reward the fans.
Yeah. Yeah. Look, I don't have any problem with the Cape Town Stadium. Let's go there. We gotta know we gotta know and learn how to win everywhere. Against these guys. I mean, we've done it. In so many different parts of the world. Now we gotta add Cape Town Stadium onto that. So yeah, no, let the boys play. But I agree with you there. Ellis Park for the All Blacks. That we need to take them to the gutter. But it was a very clean gutter this weekend. I'll say that.
Yeah, we'll get into the game. Let's just
Yeah.
discuss now. Police out, Arendse out. I'm expecting Moody to come in, Mapimpi to come in.
Mm,
Polisi, the problem, which is also why they've delayed the announcement, is because of the injuries and
mm,
happenings from basically position 4 to 7.
yeah.
You've got to think that Etzebeth's probably going to come back in.
Hopefully.
Is Peter Steph going to play 5? Is Peter Steph going to play 7? Is Nokia going
Mm,
to play 5?
yeah.
Van Staden is the straight swap. Parker was good off the bench. Ben Jason Dixon got hooked before halftime.
Yeah.
So these things are all surrounding that 4 to 7 position change, whereas with Arendse, it's just straight my Pimpy Moody.
Yeah. Yeah. Yeah, I think that's exactly it, is just the dynamics and, the combinations of who they want to, or want to feature this coming weekend. But look, I think let's just be patient as the public. Let's see. We might see a few surprises, in the starting maybe lineup, and maybe with a few
Yeah.
guys off the bench. But I think it's good because look, so far what we've seen this whole season is the guys that they've brought in, especially for when we're looking at closer to the A team or the best team, I think they've given a good account of themselves. So not too worried there. I think it's just more around the balance, especially in the pack.
Yeah.
That's where that's where it all starts, really. So yeah, it'll be interesting to see who they put in there. But I think regardless, I think we'll still be okay.
Yeah, it's one way it's hard to make a call. I think the biggest shock will be if Ben Jason Dixon starts again, but I also don't put it past them to give him another outing. So I either way, I feel like they'll give us
Yeah,
something good there.
yeah, exactly. And look, and I wouldn't be too shocked even if Ben Jason Dixon gets a start. I think, look, yes, it wasn't his best game, but it also wasn't bad, a bad performance from him. I think he got around the park. He worked hard. I think maybe the main.
It was terrible.
I
I'm
think
sorry.
no, look, Quarters. From behind the posts. From behind the posts. There's a lot of unseens. So I still think you give him another shot.
Yeah.
It wasn't catastrophic at the end of the day for me. I just think maybe it was more about him being in his own head. I think after that, the turnover and the try that New Zealand scored. I don't think they showed it on TV, but from behind the sticks, you could see like he was, his head was a bit down, and you can see Cobus Reinach, giving him, like, trying to get him,
Mm.
to forget about it and let's carry on, So I think maybe it was mainly that about him being more in his own head, and possibly that's what influenced him being hooked, but still a good player, and I think still he's got something to offer because just the way that he plays. And I think even that mistake that he made, it's things that can be fixed. Just that decision
Yeah,
making
no,
element.
yeah, it's no problem. There's really no
Mm,
problem. It's small things. It's small things. And there's
yeah.
also, to be honest, there's also things where I saw with Nokia, as much as Nokia did have a good game, especially in running
Yes.
the lineouts, I could see like hesitancy in the game plan. There are times where he got the ball, he's in the middle of the pod, it's supposed to go to the back line, but he hesitates and then he just
Yeah.
took it into contact. And it's things that these guys are new to the system, so it's not big issues, but
It was a big occasion.
yeah, it's the biggest occasion. It's the All
It
Blacks.
is.
And
It
the
is.
thing is, there's even been talk this week about early this week, as early as we are in this week, that the All Blacks have lost their aura. To me, I believe they have to some degree, not all of it. But at the
Yeah.
same time, you also have to be realistic and say that this is the second or third best team in the world. I think they're the second best team in the world right now.
Yeah.
So yes, we
Yeah.
can talk about the aura being missing, but it's still a great team.
I wouldn't say the aura is missing, to be fair, because for large parts of that game, the
Yeah,
Springboks
we're in
weren't really
trouble.
in it. Yeah, in very much in deep trouble. It's just fortunate that there was time on our side. And with that, as the game started settling and the guys started settling in as the game, went on. And then, of course, the bomb squad, and then the key
Mm.
guys like Kwacha coming in as well. That influenced it. So I wouldn't say they've lost their aura completely. Yes, to some degree because of where they are. From where they used to be. From the All Blacks
Yeah,
that we all grew up. Watching what the Springboks did on Saturday is what the All Blacks of yesteryear used to do to the Springboks. Box all the way. 60 minutes, 65, then all of a sudden, boom, boom, boom. They're
yeah,
back in the game.
exactly.
They win it. They sneak it, and it's just that the shoe's on the other foot now. It doesn't mean that they the worst at the moment. I think they still finding their way, and look, you write them off at your own peril. To be honest, that's one mistake that you don't want to make as
Yeah,
a Springbok fan is to underestimate New Zealand. And this past weekend they showed us, in terms of that they had a plan. They sucker punched us for large parts of that game, but then like a championship side, in a big game with the home ground advantage and with that the crowd I think that is also a factor as well. Is exactly that, is the crowd. I
Yeah.
think the realization of who they're playing for and where they're playing. I think that really did help the Boks in terms of getting that momentum. But
Yeah,
yeah,
let's
I'll
dig
dismiss the
deeper.
aura discussion, and say, look, man,
Well,
let's
one
not.
argument to say the aura is still there is there's been an announcement of the 2026 tour that it's going to
Yeah,
be a Lion style tour with them
yeah,
coming and playing the unions and having those the test match there. So
yeah.
it's still there. It's still there.
It is.
You saw at Ellis Park. You were fortunate enough to be there. It was the most
Oh.
auspicious of occasions. Coming into it, it's a
I
bit
saw
obviously
someone
the
say
drama.
suspicious last week, not long, over the weekend, say it was a suspicious occasion. It was a bit, in terms of the timings of everything, how things
Yeah.
unfolded.
Yeah, but like I said, coming into it was the drama of Elizabeth, and yeah, like I said, I think they're sick of our dramatics.
Yeah,
But and then there was also drama with the Haka and Sister Bettina. But to me, I just chalk it up to a mistake. I don't think it's as big as
it
a
was.
deal as everybody is making it out to be. I think it's one of those, those taking the moral high ground on issues when it's just maybe just a mistake. So I'm not
It
gonna get
was.
too much into that.
Yeah, it was. It was a timing issue. You know what I mean. We hear that a
Mm,
lot in the game. Just it was a timing issue. So that's all that it was really. Because I think from being there, I think it came from. It actually started from the box entry onto the field that delayed a little bit. They
yeah,
they took a bit of a minute to come out, and from there it just it knock on effect. In terms of all the timings, and people weren't on the ball and all of that human error. But yeah, man, look, these things, they happen. It happened this weekend.
yeah,
I don't think it'll happen again.
yeah. For me, takeaways from this game: All Blacks are dangerous in terms of they can play through our press and they can beat the press in
Yeah,
vital moments, and you saw McKenzie do that. That guy, you can't rush players like that because you know you reach, they teach. That's what ends up
yeah,
happening is you try and press
amen.
them and then they teach you that lesson. So it's that and then
Hey,
it's
the
the
star
errors that we
jumps.
have. Yeah, you
Kobe
saw
doing
guys
star
are swimming in
jumps,
the
Phil
air.
doing star jumps.
Yeah, so
Uh,
so for me that's the, and then what happens is we do defend narrow.
yeah,
I feel like we do have enough cover. But the problem is when it's if it's kind of like a set phase, it's not too bad. We had cover, Fassi had two big tackles where even Visa got
yeah,
across with him. So we're not too
yeah,
bad in that. But when they win like a kick and then it's kind of broken, that's where it becomes more dangerous. Like
yeah.
with Ben
The
Jason
tr-
Dixon's mistake
mm,
there, where does knock on, turn over, then they do the same thing there. That's when it's
yeah,
set phase, I feel like we have enough, even though we are
yeah,
narrow, we have enough to cover it. But in
yeah,
those situations, so I think that moving into before we get into this one, I think moving into that's a big concern for me. The second concern
yeah,
is just errors in execution. There were lineouts that were off. There
mm,
were Ben Jason Dixon's mistakes. Just Dialendi wasn't good in terms of his passing and his attack, but he was good on the ground.
yeah.
I don't think our centers defensively they did well, but I don't think they added anything in terms of contribution in attacking wise.
From an attacking perspective, yeah, no, look, I completely agree with you there, Quarters. I think, dude, just to echo on what you're saying, we mentioned it last week that it's going to be a battle of, that the defense and also that counter attack. And we saw that with that Ben Jason Dixon try. You make a mistake with ball in hand, and in your own half, they will punish you. And for me, the fact that they did showed that the class is still there with the All Blacks. So that's one of the things, and like you say, it is a concern, but it's something that I think that they can fix. It's just a matter of
Yeah,
looking after possession. I really think that's really it, looking after the possession and really playing in the right places. Also, at the same time, I feel like New Zealand were the ones doing most of the playing.
Yes. Yes.
and the Boks didn't really play, so defensively, they stood solid. I mean, if you look at that first try, yes, it was a wall try, okay, question marks around that, whatever. But look, we're
But
not
we're
a
not a
referee
refereeing
podcast.
podcast, as we say.
Yes, so we'll move past that. You look at that try, then if you look at that second try, that was off the mistake. That was that transition counter attack.
Yeah.
Ben Jason Dixon. Then you look at that. I think then it's the intercept. It's the intercept, and then it's that off the top play. You give them easy ball off the line out. They typically they like to strike off the line out, playing off the top. And it's just over there I think the defensive alignment just wasn't quite good enough, to get them on the outside. And the key thing you could see, their focus was really more on speed of the ball and moving that ball away from the contact points to beat that rush defense, and for a time it was working well for them. And the scramble defense of the Springboks really, especially early on in that first half, the scramble defense is really what saved us. And Fassi, for me, this game, he's a made man. He's a made man, and we called it last week. You have a good game against the All Blacks, you done. That was
him and Sasha. Essentially, Sasha, Pollard came on. Pollard went to 12. Tialende went to 13. Creel went to 14.
Wing. Yeah.
Sasha stays 10. It's done. He's the fly half. In the same way, not to move off Fassi, but in the same way, it's now you are solidified in what you are doing. To stay on Fassi, I will say, excellent under the high ball, excellent kick chase, excellent sparking opportunities.
Yeah.
But there is still some to work on. That slice kick, I thought he was rushed. He was rushed in that. Like, he didn't have to do that.
That was that mistake. And if you look at it on balance, you could say all of their tries were effectively off of our mistakes. There's nothing particular that they created that you'll say, wow, and yes, perhaps that's what fuels the aura discussion around that. But at the same time, you look at, like you say, with Fassi, he didn't need to rush that clearance. He did so well, covered the ground, good positional play.
Yeah.
So a lot of things that they can, learn from, take away. Wasn't the best Springbok performance, but Mr. Fassi there, taking us off,
his only thing is also that guy is known for getting yellow cards, man. He's always okay. I mean, for me, there's also that thing of no offside lines. He wasn't this again, not a refereeing podcast, but the yellow card thing is now following him, where he's had in
it is
cup finals and so on and so on. So that, but to me, it's two mistakes of a guy that created opportunities. He was doing left-footed cross kicks for Jesse Creel. He was all over the place, and he did big things in this match. So I can't fault the guy.
Yeah, and I mean, I particularly liked there in the first half they're playing out from deep, within their own 22, and then there's just a misdirected pass, or perhaps maybe he was a bit too deep on that running line for Dialende's pass. But the composure.
No, Dialende was a bad pass.
Yeah, but that's what I'm saying. You can look at it, one or two ways. But what I liked in particular is that composure, of him, pick that ball up, and that quick scan, quick vision to, if that ball stays in field, try all the way, so there's a lot to like about him. And what I like about him is his attitude, because he was in their faces, and look, and that's all I was calling for. Let's give him a shot. Let's see him. And we've seen him, and for me, these boys are made now. Sasha as well. I think that second test against Australia in the rain. I after that game, I was talking about him not, almost sort of falling away into the background, not necessarily being a general as such, commanding. this game, you could see he was barking orders, he was controlling things, good
playing with
communication between him
attitude.
and Fassi. He had that attitude about him, and he wasn't afraid to get in their faces as well, So look,
he was even getting in the ref's face, getting in the linesman's face, to telling them, I kicked it further than that. Like, things like that. He's playing with the attitude. He's doing kicks off the side of the boot, drop goal attempts, those little stabbing kicks from behind, which any other day I think Arendse would have scored. I think Arendse did the right thing by kicking the ball through there. It's just the second kick. It kind of like stumbled and then it fizzled out. But any other day, that's a try. So when you look at things like that, Sasha's bringing that attitude. I mean, again, he also that final kick, whatever. But it's the same like Fassi. These are small things in comparison to what they're doing in the bigger game. In terms of you talk about the Springboks not playing and not having the ball a lot. When you look at, I think when Grant Williams came on, the difference in kicking from him, and it's like Sasha also lifted his level and they played territory a lot better and they got us in the half and they got us to areas where we could play. But again, it's like, why must we do that now when it's 10 minutes and we're 4 points down or 3 points down, when it's 20 minutes, we're how many points down?
And look, I think at the end of the day, for me, what I learned from this past weekend is, yes, we may not always agree with selections, and we've got our players that we, our favorites that we want to see, and so on and so forth. But when the guys are selected and they get to play for their country, they don't go out there to let us down, and they give a good account of themselves. And what you like to see, which is good and positive, is guys almost growing game on game. Nokia looked more comfortable in this game, more experienced guys around him, experienced because things like that. Those things, I think they play a part. And I think also, funny enough, is the amount of times he went on and he came back, or he went off, came back on, things like that. I think it also allowed him time to sort of look at things from a different picture. And when he came back on, he just continued those crucial things that he was doing. Diving on the loose ball, controlling that line out. And the restarts were much better as well. So. A lot of things to like, and considering this wasn't even a top tier Bok performance, it was just a matter of grinding it out and finding a way to pull it back, with the help of the public as well.
Just other things from this game. The scrum, I felt like we did have the upper hand, but we just got no reward. There was times where it went down and then it's just like the ball's at the back, so just play. So that's something just to keep an eye on in the second game, to see that is the ref going to be wanting to see that contest more than just wanting the ball to get away and see, free play there. So that's just something. Visa, I thought Visa had some good impact. If we're talking about a guy coming back, Reinach, I thought Reinach, I could have done the job he did. I thought I could have done the job that he did. All he did was do the basic scrum half things, just pass, service off the base. It's like he just came to work. He did his hours. He ate his sandwich at lunchtime and then
clocked out. And look, and that's why, like, for me, honestly, while I was saying, look, like, I'm ready to move past, because even in that first half, no, I am. No, I am. I'm sorry. I know, there's people that, he's a favorite for them and all of that. Look, I like him. I've liked him from when he was at the Sharks, because of his pace and, and his ability, the sniping around the fringes, and, once he's gone, he's gone. But I think the decision making on the weekend, there were moments there where, especially even in that first half, where, we were putting pressure on, and perhaps him not making that snipe and rather trying to get that ball out. And, before even getting to the breakdown, just looking up and seeing that you've got numbers on your left and getting that ball out, things like that. And, for a season campaigner like him, I expected much better. It gave him benefit of the doubt for me, and I'm sure they will continue to give him benefit of the doubt. But
Yeah.
I'm ready to move on at this juncture.
Yeah, but I'm sure he'll start again in this game. Other guys, Polisi got injured and Arnsa sort of like in the same time frame, but I think Polisi
Hmm?
played a bit more. That
Yeah,
rejig, it was just good to see that even though the backline was moved so much, things were still operating. The bomb squad, I thought sometimes, well, especially this season, it's a bit of a lottery about their impact.
yeah,
Sometimes
yeah,
the guys are coming in and it's just jointed and whatever. For me, the only issue was Malcolm Mark's 1 or 2 throws. But besides that, the impact of the bench as a whole, I thought was great. Kwaka came in. Again,
yeah,
we in the cycle of Kwaka coming in, playing so well. He starts and then he doesn't play well,
look,
and then he's on the bench, and then he comes and then he starts. And so, I mean, we're still in this loop, but he came on, he did
yeah,
excellently. The problem I have with Grant Williams is every single time they bring him on, they want him to dig us out of a hole, and they
yeah.
want him to, it would
Mm,
also
to
be
do
nice to see,
something.
yeah, do something now,
It's
do
like, yeah,
something
go
now.
on and do something now.
Yeah. So it would be nice to see him in a more comfortable position where he can play, because in the beginning, like, when he first came on, he did make that mistake where the ball got caught by a boot there and whatever. But
Yeah,
because you can see he's trying to dish, to play, to do something, to spark something.
yeah,
So it'd be nice to see him in a position where he doesn't have to. But nonetheless, he did. He did.
yeah.
When
Look,
you
he
look
did.
at the control that the forwards
Mm,
had with him and the forwards. And I always put that down to the scrum half. The
yeah,
control, like in the 22, you look at Kwaka's try and you look at his try. That control that they have there is all Williams, because you're just listening to your scrum half.
yeah,
If
yeah,
you pick and go, it's because he's telling you to pick and go.
yeah, yeah. And I think he controlled that well. Uh, especially looking at from Guaja's try. Good pressure from the line out to the line out drive. But then that playing them, almost trying to get them through the middle. Earning the right. To go out and getting in behind them. Once they had that clarity in terms of, okay, this is how we're going to get through these guys, and the way he marshaled that, and even for him getting his own try, it was just evidence of the fact that and you have to commend whether it was something that was identified by the players or from the coaching staff within the game. You have to commend the fact that they were able to just make that adjustment, instead of trying to play wide too much, or play that pot
Yeah,
out wide too much, but rather playing closer and get through them through the middle and beat them with those pick and goes. And it worked a treat, to come back into the game.
yeah,
And that's what you like about this current Springbok team, is that they have many sort of go-tos, or
yeah,
in case of emergency, right, let's revert back to this type of
yeah.
game. So look, definitely a lot to like. For me, you can't really complain. Although what I did pick up on, it just, if you look at the previous games and then you look at this game, there was a bit of a shift from the Springboks perspective, where the ball, it was a lot of one-off running, and going into the contact, and not necessarily the shifting of the ball that we were seeing
Yeah, earlier on.
against Australia,
Yeah,
against your Portugals and Wales. It's strange to say, they're a bit more in their shells, and it almost didn't work out in their favor, because it's like they were just prepared to defend, in that game. But
but
other than that,
I have to say to that, like,
mm,
I fully agree with that. But when I think there's moments in the match, even watching it for the second time, where we
mhm,
were adventurous, and
yeah,
Ben
yeah,
Jason Dixon off the top straight to Sasha,
yeah,
but blindside. You seeing these things
yeah,
where, but I also put it down to maybe it's a function of so many injuries that it's just like, guys, everything is happening now. We've had changes in the back line, we've got changes in the forward. So
Yeah,
let's just go back to basics for here and now. Let's just be pragmatic with what we're doing now and try and get
yeah.
the win. So I guess it's maybe also because they were in that position.
Yeah, perhaps, and I mean, like we even saw there was an opportunity there on the great lines. It's just unlucky in terms of the timing between Sasha and Fassi. But when you're looking at those two, we've got. I think they pretty much showed that the future looks very threatening. From an attacking perspective. With them there, it just unfortunate that it didn't come off. But geez, they had them open there for minutes. So a, a lot of things to like, and considering that they didn't play, that's
Yeah.
that's the thing, that there wasn't that usual territorial dominance that this was, again, like we said, it will be a tight one, and they snuck it, and they did. So look, geez, you can't go.
Yeah.
Although I'll say, bring back for a bit of magic. That's my view. Let's bring it back for a bit of magic there. Just a point of difference, something different on attack.
Yeah, for me, I don't know. I don't know. We need a weather correspondence. I don't know what the weather's like in Cape Town, but I'm hoping that
Yeah,
it can be clear and it's a barn burner, some
yeah,
running rugby there and some entertaining rugby, because I've got a good feeling about it. The second tests are also where the action happens, but yeah, I think we'll get the win next. Well, this weekend, I think we'll get
yeah.
the win. I
Uh,
think that's it from me.
uh,
If you want to catch up on some Currie Cup,
Look, they gotta look. All I'll say is that they just gotta back it up now.
yeah,
And the nice thing about it is what they're backing up is the fact that it wasn't a vintage Springbok performance, so they can only lift it from this past weekend. So I agree with you, and we might actually, again, depending on composition of the team, we might see this one. I don't think it will be a sneak. This can be maybe a good, like maybe 8 points plus. So that's
this one I just
my
feel
view.
it's gonna be machine for machine, man for
Yeah,
man, CV for CV. It's gonna be, guys are gonna go at
yeah,
each other. So that's the
yeah,
feeling I've got. It's a lot of running and a lot of action. So yeah,
yeah. And look, let's not. We spoke about the bench. I think the sheriff, when he came on, I think
yeah,
he showed. He showed. Just got to mention that. And yes, everybody else. But for me, that
yeah.
on the
Even
restarts.
you talk about Reina telling Dixon to keep his head up. I saw Reina after the game saying to Eric Lowe, yeah, he just shook them. He just shook.
Yeah,
He was motioning the way that he stepped him, off the
yeah,
restart, the way that he got
Talia.
Talia and them. Yeah. So maybe that's why
You know,
Reina is there. It's because he's just bringing the vibes
he's the
right
hype
now.
man. He's the hype man. No, okay, keep the hype man. But keep him in the hype stance. I'm just saying. I'm just saying.
Yeah, but anyway, let's go some Currie Cup. I just caught the two games on Friday, Griquas versus Cheetahs. This
Mhm.
one, it's sad that the Griquas, we're only seeing this now because of
Yeah,
injuries and not getting things together as much as they would have wanted to. But Dobela was back.
yeah,
That guy is running the things. The Lions had three, they were rumored to sign Dobela. Then they got three young guys that stood up. I was like, yeah, no, maybe they won't sign him. But then you see this, you're like, no, they have to sign him. They have to
yeah,
sign him. He was magic. And the thing that I like the most about him is the way he delays his pass. It
yeah,
puts the defense, it makes them hesitant. And then the runner that's running onto it can make a decision that breaks the line or breaks the game. You
yeah.
saw Mahoney with that step. Zane Bestas
Oof.
just got pace. These guys, they were, when they put it together, they were just playing.
Mm. Look, credit to Griquas. Yes, said that we're seeing this at the end of like right now. It's the end of the season. They've really got nothing
Yeah,
to play for. But I think I've look at it from the other side. Particularly disappointing from the Cheetahs. I think they really need to seriously get their act together, because I mean they've been together for a long time. They played Challenge Cup. And for them to
yeah,
not get a result, yes, it's away from home, but still, they should be at least the next best. Where they're showing that look, they also deserve top tier rugby. But at this rate, for where they are, they deserve it. Although there's some few guys we can see some nice things from them, but yeah, they'll be disappointed. But again, magic of the Currie Cup, with the Griquas getting that win, it's always good.
Yeah, Lions against the Bulls. I knew it was gonna happen. Once I saw the lineups, I knew it was gonna happen. We
Yeah,
saw
yeah.
a feast at Midstream College there. I
I
think
know.
the Lions, they just from the beginning, from kickoff,
Yeah, I
the
know.
intensity, they just
Yeah.
rushed them off the field.
Yeah, they looked like they were just wanting to dish out hiding after hiding, their tries. And that guy, Lorenzo Duplessis, just you know what? I don't know what they feed him, but then when they have their big guys back, you saw Ram Fenter, guys coming in Tlabaganye, we can see now
Yeah.
that Urossi is close, so good for the Lions, and I think a good confidence booster for them going in, to the final rounds and into knockouts, but
Yeah.
also with the vision of URC ahead.
And it just shows the difference between guys that are URC players and Currie Cup players.
Yeah. Yeah.
So it's hey, and Eric Cornier, the way that guy's filled in for him, Hinko van Veek, it was nice to see that handoff there, big moments. Marius Lowe as well.
Yeah.
Any other games?
It was look, I don't even know if it's worth talking about it. Sharks absolutely hammering the Griffons. But look, Griffons, there's some good players there. There's some good players there. They can shake and bake. You got speed, so some guys that definitely, they're gonna put some muscle on them and take them to another union. But look, good for the Sharks. Good to see them get that win, and then Province Pumas, I watched that on Sunday. Yeah, look, I'll just say, Money, he must go to the ocean quickly, because the kicking boots were missing. He must just go there fast, and maybe things will go right for him, because he's still a good player, ball in hand and everything. But the goal kicking issue is it's following him so badly, and it brought the Pumas back into this game, especially in that first half, considering the spot that Province had. But again, credit to the Pumas, for the fight that they showed to make it a close game, and at one stage get ahead of Province. But yeah, they managed to pull it. So
final round this weekend, and I think it's all but said and done for the Lions, because they're playing the Griquas. I mean the Griffons, so they're going to finish top of the log. You've got Griquas, Western Province, Pumas, Free State, Sharks versus Bulls. So we'll enjoy again this weekend.
There's a feast coming up, and then we finish All Blacks, South Africa part 2 down there in the Cape, so yeah, people are going to be crying. I just don't know. I don't know. Not that I don't know. It's going to be those guys. Yeah.
This thing it's causing divisions in families. This thing is causing divisions among social, local fan bases. Yeah, it's
look, it's just rugby. We love it. We love it, but look, to those ones in South Africa, you are home now. I don't know where. I just don't know, but okay.
I think that's it from us. Thanks for watching, guys.
We out.